Welcome back to class. So today we're going to be looking at the double-breasted wrap. The double-breasted wrap, the facing, the pockets, the breast pockets, and the hip pockets. So let's get started. For the double-breasted wrap, the wrap is usually between 6 to 8 cm to 9 to 10 cm, but for this tutorial I'll be using 8 cm. So from your CF, you measure 8 cm for the wrap. We're also going to be looking at the collar. The last class I said the collar will be cut out, then we will slash and spread to expand the outer edge of the collar. So this is my 8 cm from my CF. I'm going to square I'm going to connect the dotted lines. This is my 8 cm wrap. 8 cm wrap. So I'm going to extend this CF, this neckline, to the new wrap. The next thing we're going to do is to get the crease line. Because we have extended our wrap, the crease line has shifted from where it was initially. So we're going to redraw our crease line to the new wrap. So you make sure that where your crease line is on your collar, which is this, you place your ruler there and connect to your new wrap. I'm also using 2 cm above the waistline for this, so I have indicated it. This is the waistline. You can extend it to the front, to the new wrap. That it's clear. So above it, I've measured 2 cm. So I'm going to extend the crease line to it. So this is our new crease line. The next thing we're going to do is to get the shape of the collar of the lapel. Then you place your curve, you determine the shape of the lapel like the other one. We want it extended a bit. If you don't want it extended, if you want it wider than this is about 2.5 inches, about 7 cm. If you want it wider here, you can come here and extend to 8 cm. So I'm going to make it 8 cm. Then you connect. I'm going to indicate this as a broken line because we have 2 lines, so we'll know the one. This is the 8 cm measurement that we just took now. the lapel is going to be broken line, so that it's easier for us to differentiate the lines. Just going to clean in between. So you extend it to this side. Now note, if you want to change the shape of the lapel at this part, you can decide to place this at your C. Remember, this is our C, where the collar joins the lapel. You can decide to place your curve. Remember, the other one was a straight line. The other shape of the lapel, it totally depends on your preference. What's up like this, why this is so you connect back to this. But if you don't want it, you can go ahead and still use this one. So it all depends on your preference. Now we're going to look at this is the double-breasted. Now we're going to look at I need to extend this to the hip line to the new wrap. So I've done that. So if you need to leave this, if you want this to look like this, it totally depends on what you want. But if you don't want it, you can go ahead and curve, give it the shape you want at the center front. But before that, I'm going to get the facing. That way it will help me to connect. By the time I give this CF the shape that I want at this place, I will connect it to my facing. So it's going to stop there. So to get the facing, this is what I usually do. On my neckline, I'll measure 6 cm. 6 cm from my new neckline. Please note that because we are going to fold this is going out, so we are folding it. We are transferring this dart somewhere. We have different method of transferring that, like we know. So if you're making a jacket, you have to decide the style line that you want. So if you're making a princess style line that is starting from the armhole, you have to close this and you connect to your dart. That way this is closed. When this is closed, you're going to have a flat. Don't mark that manipulation. We're going to have, let's say, this is how it's going to look like. So if you need to get your facing, you measure 6, and this is where it is. And of course, you're going to connect it to the down. But for the purpose of this, I'm going to use what I have here. So I have 6. I actually have 6 here. So it's starting from here. I have 5.5, 5.7 here. So it's starting from here. I'm measuring 5.7 here. Now I'm going to go down and measure 7 at the hem. There are two ways of getting your facing. I think the right thing to do, or the easiest thing to do, because this is also right, if your CF is, if your shoulder line, if you have the amount you need on your shoulder line, like the 6 cm that you need to measure here, if you have it on your shoulder line, it's fine. You can go ahead and get your facing. You just mark your facing. That way, you know, when you're tracing at the facing. But if you don't have up to that, you can go ahead and close this, your shoulder. That way you would have transferred it somewhere else. Then you have your princess Styleline cut out. So, but for this purpose, I'm going to just do this. Your 6 is not a standard measurement, so you can just, because if for some people this might be smaller, you don't want to go in and it's actually very small, but this is fine. So I'm going to connect this 5 point what do I have here, 5.7, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 5.7. I'm going to connect it to the 7. So I'll use a dotted line. Note the way I'm placing my curve. Just going to use a dotted line to connect that 7 below. That is where the facing is stopping, at the down part. So this is it. So making it more obvious. So this facing is going to be, we're going to use the fabric that we're using for the, whatever fabric we're using, we're going to use it as facing for this. We're going to cut that fabric and this will be our facing for the jacket. Then after that, now note, at the down part, we didn't put allow. This is just an extension that we were told to do. The measurement we are told to add, but we didn't put, this is my facing, let me indicate, we didn't put sewing allowance at the down. So I'm going to put sewing allowance at the down for us to be able to turn this. So I'm using 1 inch. 1 inch from the second line. Exactly on that, because I'm going to curve this. I'm going to curve this. I am going to start from here. But if there is no, if your jacket is going to be a straight seam, you can just come here and add your 1 inch, whatever allowance you're using, you add. But since my jacket is going to be curved around this side, I am starting from where the facing is. So I'm measuring 1 inch or 2 cm. Let me use 2 cm. So I'm going to go 2 cm to the back also. 2 cm. That's what we're using to turn the lining we need to put. So I'm going to connect those dotted lines. this point. Then I'll extend this facing, the facing to the allowance, seam allowance. So this is what it looks like. Then I'm going to curve here to the shape that I want. For the desired curve, I'm going to go in here from this CF. I'm going to go in by, it depends on what you want, but for this I'm going in by 8 cm. I want a curvy edge at the CF. I'm going in by 8 cm at the hem of the jacket block at the center front. So I'm going to take this pattern master, I'll place it on this first hip line, on the first hip line along my facing, exactly where my facing is. I'm placing it, that's where my curve is starting from. So curve it, still place it, I'll have to take it to my, where my break line stops, 2 cm above my waistline, or depends. I'll stop it at the waistline, leaving it a bit straight. Like I said, depends on how you want the front. So this is what it's going to look like. The reason why I wanted to create the facing first was so that I can know where my curve is going to stop. So that's why I created the facing first. So this is my facing, and this is the curve. This is how I want it. You can create different style line at the center front. So this is the facing, and this is the center front. We'll now look into the pockets. But before that, we have to extend this side front and side back to the new hem. So this is it. So to determine the pocket of the fabric of the jacket, we have the breast pockets, we have the hip pocket. For the breast pockets, on your armhole, on your chest line, you come in by 1/4, which is about 3.5 cm. Okay. Then the chest pocket is between the chest and the bust line. So, and it's slanted. So on your 3.5 cm, you slant it towards the bust line, a measurement of 4 cm. Please note, like I said, if you have to do this pocket, construct the pocket, make sure that this place is closed. You've transferred this dart somewhere else. At the end of the day, you have it closed. Your dart it's no longer, it's closed, it's like this. This is what I mean. So by the time you're constructing your pocket, you know that you're using exactly the measurement. So for the purpose of this, I'm just going to show us how to get it. Then on your bust line, 3.5. Then on you slant your ruler to your bust line by you're using 4 inches, which is about 10 cm. Slant it like that. Then you're going to come down by 1 inch. Sorry, this is, I'm not supposed to rule this obvious line, but I'm going to create a dotted line because that will serve as my guideline, which is 4 inch here. So then you come you're going to come down by you come down by 1 inch here. On this line, then you connect to this your 4 cm here. You can go ahead and clean this because it might confuse you. Then you come on this your 4 cm here, you come up by 1 inch again. Then you connect to this, so it's slanted. The height of the pocket is 1 cm, 1 inch. Connect. So this is your pocket, breast pocket. Then for the hip pocket or patch pocket, like I said, not patch pocket, the hip pocket. So the hip pocket will have the patch pocket or the welt pocket. The welt pocket is the one that has opening, while we have the patch pocket. It is determined, since we have the breast pocket or the chest pocket, since we have it here, we have to make sure wherever the welt pocket or your patch pocket is starting from, it has to align with this. So, but if you don't have the chest pocket, you can measure from your CF. This is your CF. A measurement of 9 to 11 cm. Then a measurement from 9 to 11 cm for the starting of the pocket. Then you measure 12 to 15 cm or 13 to 14 cm, depending on how long you want the wideness of the pocket. But at the sizing, you have to come in by 2.5 cm. So that's the guideline to creating that patch pocket, to creating the wet pocket, the hip pocket. The hip pocket will have the patch pocket and the welt pocket. So you have to come in by the side seam, 12.5 cm. Here, CF, 9 to 11 cm. So you determine the width, 13 to 14 cm, 12 to 15 cm. So, but because I have the chest pocket, I am going to go with the measurements. I'm going to measure here to see what I have. I have 10 cm here, so I'm going to come down here and measure 10 cm. The hip pocket is, you can measure from your waistline, the waist 6 to 8 cm. I'm going to use 8 cm here, 6 cm here. So I'm going to measure 6 cm from my waistline. I'm using the first line, the natural waist line, 8 cm. Then I'm going to measure, I'm getting my 8 cm, 6 cm as a guideline. Then I have 10 cm, from here to here I have 10 cm. So I'm going to measure on my center front 10 cm, that's the measurement. Okay? On the line where I have my 6 cm. Let me roll it. Just as a guideline. So I'm going to measure on that line, on my CF line, the the 10 cm. That way I have, if I fix the pocket, it's aligning to this. So this is the 10 cm. This is where it is. I'm going to measure 14 to 12 cm, 12 to 14 cm, to 15 cm, 13 to 15 cm. So I'll be using 5.5 inches or 5 inches. That's about 12.5 cm. I want to use 12.5 cm. So from here, that's my 12.5 cm. So whatever you're doing, just make sure you're coming by 2.5 at the hip line, at the side seam, in case you're making a bigger pocket, wider, like patch pocket. So these are the guidelines to creating that pocket. So this is where the work is going to start. I'll just construct this for us to know what it is by 1 cm, just to see what it looks like. So this is it. So this is where the pocket is going to be. Then if you want a patch pocket, you can determine if you want it in form of a round, a patch, round or square. You can also do your patch pocket at your chest, chest line, if you don't want to use this. So if you want a square, just, it can be bigger than this. Like I said, it's all about your design. So this is what the pockets, the seam, not the seam, the lapel and the facing. This is the shaping of the center front. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to be cutting it out for us to see. Decided not to cut it out, but instead I'm going to be showing us how to, after cutting out our collar, this is a collar being cut out. So now, like I said, we're going to slash and spread it on this line, this trace line, that is our Q line. We're going to slash and open by 1 cm or 0.5 to 1 cm. But because I've done it before, when I opened by 0.5 cm, yet it wasn't free at the outer edge. It was a bit not tight, but it wasn't really wide the way I wanted it. So I had to devise a means. What I did was I divided it again here. I just slashed to get a wider outer edge. So note, you slash, you don't slash to the, don't slash it open, you just slash to the end, because the inner edge is already has its own measurement. If you add to it, it's going to affect the inner edge when you're fixing the collar to the bodice. So this is what you do, you just open by 0.5 0.5 this is more than 0.5. You open by 0.5. You want to open to 1 cm too, it's fine. 1 cm on both sides, that way you have 2 cm. But you can open 0.75, that way you have more than, you have less than 1 cm by the time you're done opening when you open 0.5. So I'm opening by 0.75. 0.75. I'm gonna open by 1 cm. I think I want it a bit wide, so 1 cm. 1 cm. So we're going to retrace. You make sure that this place is laying flat. You don't need it to expand at the edge, like I said. So you make sure it's flat. You're going to redraw and trace out your pattern. Color. So we just of course you add your sewing allowance. Mind you, for everything we've been doing, we've not added any sewing allowance apart from the hem of the jacket, because we needed to get to the facing, the shaping of the. So by the time you're done cutting, you're going to add seam allowance everywhere. So you're adding seam allowance all around. This is the center back where the collar is going to be. This is the CF. Then this is the outer edge. Outer edge of the collar. This is the inner edge. Inner edge. So you have your, this is where the collar joins at the back. So you're going to have seam allowance round. So I said, if you have these two openings, like I said, you can go spread by 0.5 on both sides. Now if you have 0.5 on both sides, 0.75 on both sides, that way you have a wider edge. So this is what it looks like. But you shouldn't exceed more than what we just used, 1 cm. So at the end of the day, this piece is wide. So this is what it looks like. Color. So that's that about this class. So I am going to be showing us what the jacket, the cutter jacket pattern looks like. Then I'm going to be showing us how to, of course, add our princess style line to this pattern. Then showing us how to draft the link button front. Link button front means the single button. In some jacket we have just one button, while in some we have more than one button. The first pattern we did, jacket pattern, we had the 3 cm wrap, which is a single breasted jacket. While we did a double breasted jacket, which is about 6 to 8 to 7, which is about 6 to 8 to 9 to 10 cm wrap. Then this is just one button. It is referred to as the link button front. I'm going to show us how to get it. Then also create the style line around the down part of it. So let's get started. So first of all, this is what the jacket, the cutter jacket looks like. This is the front. I'm using the front alone. This is the front. This is the lapel. So when you turn it this way, this is what it's going to look like. So this is your lapel. your lapel, this is the break line. Your lapel is determined by the how wide you want it. Then this is what it's going to look like when we fix the collar. I'm going to tape it down so that we'll see what it looks like when it's taped, when the collar is attached to it. The collar will be attached. This is the point where the collar will be attached, at that point C. Point C, that's where the collar will be attached when sewing. So this is what the collar looks like after being attached to the bodice. So this is how it's going to look like on your jacket. So this is it. This is the point C. This is the outer edge of your collar and all that. And now we're going to get the princess Styleline, the armhole. So you can do your princess Styleline from the shoulder, but I'm going to be using the princess Styleline for the armhole. So you just connect. You want to make sure it's not so sharp, because the cup is not going to have the cup like the fitted top. So you come to this down part. So this is your flesh it out, make it darker. So this is what it looks like. Then you come to your dart, you lengthen it. So now, the previous class I taught us how to get the facing. So I'm going to get the facing from this point where the inner dart leg is. I'm going to mark a dotted line. Whatever it is giving me, I'm going to come to the down and mark 7 cm the hem. Then I'm going to connect with the dotted line before I mark it out. Oh. Facing. I'm going to flesh it out. So I've fleshed out the facing, and I've also gone ahead to add my seam allowance at the hem of the fabric, 2 cm seam allowance of the pattern. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is to create the link wrap. Like I said before, we have the link wrap, which is 1 button, 2 cm above the waistline, the natural waist, which is this. Then we have the double-breasted wrap, which is about 6 to 8 cm, or there about 9 to 10 cm. Then we also have the single-breasted wrap, which is the 3 cm to 4 cm wrap. So we're using this pattern now to create the wrap. So what you're going to do, this is the tracer pattern of the first, the basic jacket that I did, and I already have 3 cm wrap here. So what I'm going to do is to come at the waistline and measure 2 cm from the center front. I'll measure 2 cm, mark. So this is my 2 cm. Another way to do it is to when you're adding extra paper here, you can, if you have more than 2 cm as your margin, after drafting your pattern, you can leave it and come to from the waistline and add extra paper. The width of the lapel should be around 4. Add extra paper from your waistline to this instead of adding extra paper down to get 3 cm. I had to use this tracer pattern, like I said, to get this, to create this pattern. So if you don't want to do that, all you have to do is to make sure you have from your CF, you have at least 2 cm margin, or 2 to 2.5 or 3 cm, whichever one. At least make sure you have 2 cm margin from the hem to the waistline. From the waistline above, you add extra width, at least 4 cm, 4 to 5 cm. So by the time you draw out your lapel, you still have excess to cut out. Now the 4 cm is not a standard measurement. It depends on what the size of your lapel. If you want it wider, so you can go ahead and do more. So like I said, I already have this traced out. So I've measured my 2 cm. Now I'm going to reconstruct my break line. This, connect it to that 2 cm line so that my lapel can start from the break line. So this is it. I'm going to make it clear with a marker. So this is my new break line. Now I'm going to reconstruct my lapel from that 2 cm line. I'll connect it to the existing lapel. So this is it. Then I'm going to shape it down, because the only place you need the buttonhole, the wrap is around the waist. So I'm going to take it down from the waist, from the lapel. I'm going to curve it, so I can decide. By the end of the day, when you curve it, most of the wrap that is here will go away, to disappear. So I'm going to go in, I'm using this curve from my first hemline where my facing is 37 cm that I measure from my CF to this place. I'm going to curve it to this place. That's where it's going to get to. So I'm using this curve. Like I said, you can decide to leave this straight at the edge, at the CF center front. You can decide to give it, you can decide to curve it. Connect to it. I'm going to use the marker to highlight it so that it's clear. You can decide to use a straight line from your link, which is this strap where the lapel stop. You can decide to slant your line. That's the style line. That is what you want. So I'm going to highlight this. this is it for the curve. Or you use this slanted, or you just make it straight. It's a choice. So this is it. Now I'm going to retrim this lapel. I'm going to retrim it, so I'm cutting off. I'm going to cut from this seam to this part, curve, cut. So I have cut it out. This is what the the cutout pattern. This is what it looks like. This is the center front. Then now we still need to cut out the princess style line. Then you know you're going to close your shoulder darts, because we have transferred the shoulder darts to the princess style line. So the indication of cut on fold, sorry, cut into two, not on fold. So these are the line I indicated. This is the facing. You're going to trace out, you put your paper underneath this and trace out your facing. Trace out your facing from here to here. You trace it out. Of course, you remove the collar. Trace it out. So this is the hem. It's where we're folding in from. The second line, folding in to put our lining and the rest. So this is it. This is what it looks like basically. And this is the new wrap line, or break line, roll line rather. And so this is how it's going to look like. This is the lapel. From the new break line. So this is it. And that's your basic jacket pattern with the link wrap.